Hey guys, welcome back. We're outside in the garden doing a little bit more harvesting. Now, the last couple of weeks, we've been eating a ton of cucumbers, probably a couple a day, and we've been unable to keep up with them. So we're starting to do a little bit of pickling. Now, I've done some where I've done a hot water bath pickling. I'm not entirely certain about that recipe to see if it worked out or not, but I decided to try a refrigerator pickle, and I can tell you with absolute certainty it's by far the best pickle I've ever made. So I'm going to show you what I did. I followed a recipe, but I modified it and add a few extra things, and I'll show you everything. I'll give you the recipe of what I used, and we're going to get going on that. And I'm going to use the same brine that I'm making for the pickles. I'm going to use to make some dilly beans, and we're also going to have to get some sauce going. So we have a ton of tomatoes inside and still have a ton more to pick out here. So we're going to get some harvesting done out here, and then we'll move inside and I'll show you how to make these pickles. So let's get going. Alright, so we're back inside. We're going to be making our refrigerator pickles. And the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to make our brine. I'll walk you through that, but we're going to make enough of that brine that we're going to use it for not only making our pickles, but we're also going to make dilly beans and we're going to make pickled onions. This is what we're going to start with. We got, for a single portion, we're going to use 1.25 cups of distilled vinegar at 5% acidity. 3 tablespoons of salt, 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now when we do this, we're actually going to be making about 6 portions of this, so we'll do the math on that and put everything together. First thing we're doing is to our non-reactive pan or pot, we are going to be adding our salt, our sugar, and then our vinegar and bring that to a boil. Now we are doing 6 portions, and because 6 portions times 3 tablespoons is 18 tablespoons, 16 tablespoons is 1 cup, and then 2 extra tablespoons. Same thing for the sugar. 1, 2. Now for vinegar, we're going to be doing 7.5 cups. 1, 2, 3. And the inside of here, it has a half mark, 7.5. Now we're going to bring this up to temperature and start whisking and dissolving everything inside. Now we'll start the process of adding cold water. 3, 6, 9, and 12. Now we'll let this continue to cool down while we prep all of our vegetables and get them ready. Now as for the ingredients that we're going to be using in our pickles and for our dilly beans, we have dill, Scotch bonnet peppers we just harvested today, some garlic from earlier in the year. In the back, this is coriander, or these are cilantro seeds that we have harvested in the past, mustard seeds, and these are white pepper. First thing we're going to prepare is going to be our spicy refrigerator pickles. We're going to start off with 2 to 3 sprigs of dill, 2 cloves of garlic, 1.5 to 2 Scotch bonnets, half a teaspoon of peppercorns, half a teaspoon of mustard seeds, and half a teaspoon of coriander. Now we're going to stuff the cucumbers into the jar, attempting to fill every void and every space with a cucumber. Eventually we're going to run out of our Scotch bonnets, but we're going to continue filling the jars with cucumbers and making regular dill pickles, and the quantities and measurements remain the same. The jars are filled, now it's time to add the brine. When you're canning the pickles and using a hot brine, you need to fill it up to about a 1/2 inch of headspace. But in this case we're using a cold brine, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But you do want to ensure it's completely covered, and a good rule of thumb, that 1/2 inch will fill it up completely. I don't know if anyone else has the same problem when making pickles and using the canning method, that their pickles end up very soft. But using this method, though it doesn't keep nearly as long, the pickles end up being crunchy, refreshing, and full of flavor. So this is the method that I prefer to use now versus the canning method. Now once everything is sealed up, these pickles are going to refrigerate for about a week to 2 weeks, and they're going to be ready to go, and then they're good for about a month. So I'm going to put what they are. In these cases, I've got Scotch bonnets in there, so they're going to be spicy. So I put their spicy dills, their refrigerator pickles, and the date today is 8/25, so that way I know in a month from now, so in September 25th roughly, these need to get eaten by, so I need to start getting these done. So I have some in there right now that we are going to be putting this to the rear and cycling everything in and out. What's nice about these labels is once you start putting them on, if in this case I'm not sealing, I'm not heat sealing, I'm not using them other than just as a cover. So I can probably reuse these. And because I'm going to reuse these labels are actually biodegradable. So once I put them under water, hot water, they will dissolve and I can reuse the lids. Now they're all labeled, so I'm going to move them downstairs to the refrigerator in our basement, and then they'll sit for the next week and they'll be ready to eat. But before I take them down, let's work on a few other things. Now we're going to be doing a refrigerator dilly bean. That's going to be the exact same method as our refrigerator pickles. We're using the same ingredients and same measurements. The star of the show is the pickling brine. Once you have that mastered, everything else will come easy, and that's when you can start to experiment with flavors. In this case, I also did a banana pepper with some cayenne peppers to kick up the heat a little bit. I did some onions, and then I had some leftover Scotch bonnet, so I made a peach and Scotch bonnet hot sauce. If you have any questions or comments about any of these recipes, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll leave some links to some other videos that you can check out for some of our other recipes, and that's going to be it. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon.